Hi, I'm George of Contour Fitness and Mama Bump Fit, and I'm just going to explain why boxing isn't a great exercise for if you've just had a baby. So the main aim after having a baby is to strengthen your core so that it protects your back, it keeps everything in place, especially your pelvic organs, so you don't want to end up with prolapse or anything like that. So you really want to protect your core and get that strengthened up. So boxing, why is it not good for you? So number one, when you throw a punch, you're twisting your body around. When you've had a baby, you want to avoid any exercise that involve twisting because you're going to be using one side of your abs more than the other. And when you use one side, it's going to pull away from the midline of your stomach. So something that happens to 1 in 3, 1 in 4 women is that they get a diastasis recti, which is basically a gap down the middle of your abs where your abs have separated. What you want to do is really strengthen that up by not pulling away from it. If you're throwing a punch, you're pulling away from that midline, which isn't going to be helpful, and it's not going to close that gap up, it's not going to help protect your back and all that sort of thing, so it's going to come up with problems. So that's number one, you're twisting. Avoid the twisting. Number two is that it's an impact exercise. So during pregnancy, your body produces hormones which allow your joints to become a bit lax, so move around a little bit more, and when joints tend to move around a little bit more, they get painful. So when you're throwing a punch, there's a very big impact there, which is putting impact on your elbow, on your shoulder, it's going to be affecting your back. When you plank your foot, it's going to put impact on your knee and your hips. So when you throw a punch, it lands. If you haven't got a stable joint, which could be the case because your pregnancy hormones stay with you for at least 3 months after you've had a baby, and if you're breastfeeding up until the end of that breastfeeding period. So punching, impacts, not good for after you've had a baby, going to create pain, and yeah, you might want to rush back into it, but you don't want to be out injured for another 3 months. You want to get back into it and do it properly. And then finally, the third one is when you throw a punch, you tend to hold your breath, which means that, and you tend to tense up your core, which is good. When you're throwing the punch, you're not exhaling through, you're holding your breath, which is what a lot of people tend to do. If you are throwing a punch, I'd definitely advise just exhale as you do it. But if you're holding your breath, it's going to create a lot of pressure on your insides. Too much pressure on your insides can result in things like prolapse. It can blow out your diastasis recti, and it can cause kind of back pain, pelvic pain, that sort of thing. So if you want to avoid prolapse, if you want to avoid joint pain, if you want to get that tummy gap closed up, if you want a strong core, I'd really advise not doing boxing for at least 6 months after you've had a baby. If they're the classes you love, then you need to really work on strengthening your core so that you're ready to get back into it as soon as possible. But that's why boxing isn't a great exercise for after you've had a baby.